morning, Gogny Elementary. Today is Friday, November 16th, and it is an A Day. My name is Cynthia from Mrs. Hollabaugh's class.
This is Jack from Mrs. Gogny's class. We will be led in the pledge by students from Mrs. Gogny and Mrs. Hollabaugh's classes. And they are
Jack,
Caleb, Alexis, Kaylin.
Please stand and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for the Connolly Pledge.
I pledge to the Gogny Hollabaugh to be respectful, to be responsible, and to be involved. This will lead me to success.
Today's lunch is cheese bites, red dipping sauce, Power Punch juice box, and green grapes. The alternative is breakfast for lunch.
Don't forget PBS sign up. Please sign up outside the gym at the end of this broadcast.
Hi, this is Shauna from Mrs. Gogny's class.
This is Caitlin from Mrs. Hollabaugh's class.
What is the author's job in writing a book? Their job is to develop a story that people will want to read. They include exciting details, a plot, and conclusion. Authors have a reason for writing. Maybe they are writing about something that happened to them, or maybe they want to share a story about someone they know.
How often have you taken the time to learn about the author? Authors might have something interesting to share. Did you know that all Gary Paulson's books are about real-life events in his life? Did you know that C.C. Bell, the author of El Devo, actually had a hearing problem that she had her characters have? You should take the time to get to know the authors. You might be surprised at what you learn.
This is Jacob from Mrs. Hollabaugh's class.
This is Luke from Miss Gogny's class.
This is me, Rose from Miss Gogny's class.
A fairy tale, wonder tale, magic tale, or marchen is a folklore genre that takes the form of a short story. Such stories typically feature entities such as dwarves, dragons, elves, fairies, giants, gnomes, goblins, griffins, mermaids, talking animals, trolls, unicorns, or witches, and usually magic or enchantments.
The first book we feature is Cinderella Stories Around the World, 4 Beloved Tales by Carrie Mester. We know about the original tale of Cinderella, but this book takes you on a new journey to different worlds. Think there is just one fairy tale with an overworked girl and wicked stepsisters. Think again! Cultures all around the world have their own Cinderella stories. Visit Canada, China, Egypt, and France and find out whose glass slippers are made of red silk and whose fairy godmother is a fish.
The next book we are featuring is The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by John Skency. You thought you knew the story of the three little pigs. You thought wrong. In this hysterical and a clever fracture fairy tale picture book that twists point of view and perspectives, young readers will finally hear the other side of the story of the three little pigs.
This is Alexis from Miss Gogny's class.
This is Kayla from Miss Hollabaugh's class.
This is Cece from Miss Gogny's class.
The Taj Mahal in Agra, India is one of the most brilliant structures on earth, but the pollution is turning the white marble monument into shades of green and yellow and brown. It's very serious. Supreme Court justices in India told the Times of India that it has to be saved. The Taj Mahal stands on the polluted Yam River. Insects are attracted to the dirty water. They leave greenish droppings on the building. Air pollution is also a big threat. According to the World Health Organization, India's air quality is among the worst in the world.
In the 1990s, India's Supreme Court ordered hundreds of factories near the monument to close. Also, car and bus traffic was restricted. From time to time, workers cleaned the Taj Mahal, but doing so is difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. And it doesn't prevent the discoloration. The symbol of India is getting dirty, and nobody is doing anything about it. Mike Bergen told Time for Kids he worked on a 2014 study of pollution at the Taj Mahal. On July 11th, India's Supreme Court gave them an ultimatum: either you demolish the Taj Mahal or you restore it. They said authorities in Uttar Pradesh submitted a draft of an action plan on July 24th. It suggests banning plastics and construction from the area. It also for the closing of more factories. A final plan was due on November 15th. In order to pressure the Taj Mahal, many people will need to come together.
This is Sophia from Miss Hollabaugh's class.
This is Haley from Mrs. Gogny's class. This week's cool tool was to talk about being kind. What does it mean to be kind? You could say that being kind is helping others. You could say being kind is sharing. You could say being kind is a good friend. What is your definition of being kind?
Let's think about the book Wonder. Did you read that book? Mr. Brown had a precept that said, when given the choice between being right or being kind, choose kind. What does that mean to you? I think what they mean is that you don't always have to be right. It's better to be kind than to be right.
This is Brennan from Miss Gogny's class.
This is Natalie from Miss Hollabaugh's class.
This is Riley from Miss Hollabaugh's class.
Ever wondered why we celebrate Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is a national holiday in the United States, and Thanksgiving occurs on Thursday, November 22nd. In 1621, the Plymouth colonist Wampum Indians shared an autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged today as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrations in the colonies.
For more than 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonies, and states. It wasn't until 1863, in the midst of the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a National Thanksgiving Day to be held each November. In November 1621, after the Pilgrims' first corn harvest proved successful, Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast, invited a group of the fleeing colony's Native American allies, including the Wampanoag chief Massasoit, now remembered as Americans' first Thanksgiving. Although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used the term at the time, the festival lasted for 3 days.
Pilgrims held their second Thanksgiving celebration in 1623 to mark the end of a long drought that they had threatened the year's harvest and prompt Governor Bradford to call for a religious feast. Days of fasting and Thanksgiving on an annual or occasional basis became common practice in other New England settlements as well. During American Revolution, the Continental Congress designated 1 or more days of Thanksgiving a year, and in 1789, George Washington issued the first Thanksgiving proclamation by the national government of the United States. In it, he called upon Americans to express their gratitude for happy conclusion to the country's War of Independence and the success ratification of the U.S. Constitution.
This is Jessica from Mrs. Gogny's class. Do you know Mrs. Mickle? She works in the office. Today is her last day here at Conley. We are sure going to miss having her smile and kind heart at our school. We wanted to take the time to wish you good luck on your new adventure. Please come back and visit here at Conley. Good luck, Miss Mickle. Also, don't forget the book fair. It will be going on for the next 2 weeks.
My name is Emma from Mrs. Gogny's class. This is Kaylin from Mrs. Hollabaugh's class. Now for some words of wisdom. Next week, the whole nation will set aside a few days to celebrate Thanksgiving, which of course is a time for giving thanks, showing gratitude for all our blessings. Gratitude is an attitude, a very important attitude. According to some people, let's take Samuel Johnson, for instance. He was one of the first English writers to write a dictionary, and he took gratitude very seriously.
Samuel Johnson said gratitude is a fruit of a great civilization you do not find amongst gross people. In other words, he's saying that great people have grateful attitudes. They are thankful for what they have. Gross people aren't. They don't have any gross people here, do we? I don't think so. Today, let's have a little bit of attitude, attitude. And be so grateful. With something to think about, this is Emma. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.